Hey, welcome back. It's subject that I'm going to bring up is about the Memphis police beating. I gotta talk about that, and I do apologize for those who find it a little sensitive and everything like that. But today's topic: the cop gang styled beatings, if not actual gang cops or cop gangs, whatever you want to call them, and the difficulties in putting them down. Corrupt cops is nothing new. Here in San Antonio, Texas, we recently put away a constable for records tampering, but cop gangs and putting away violent law offenders are a reoccurring problem lately. One of the main reasons is time. Um, in this one particular case that I'm referring to, it took about 50 years for it to be taken down. It was Los Bandidos, which started out as a biker gang here in Texas. Um, they wound up becoming law enforcement in LA, Los Angeles, California. And to top it all off, California wound up, especially in the LA area, wound up having um, a huge variety of cops that are gangs. Um, we're talking about, like Compton executioners, Buffalo soldiers, which I think is a very bad thing to label yourself as a gang. Uh, Cavemen, cowboys, the Grim Reapers, Jump Out Boys, Wayside Whiteys, which I assume is something concerning race, um, Spartans, Regulators, Pirates, Posse, Rattlesnakes, etc., etc., etc. There's a lot of them out there that I just didn't get. Now, another thing but see, here's the thing. This is an odd and eerie similarity to the Rodney King beating. A gang of cops attacking a person, but only with this particular case, they actually wound up taking the life of the person that they attacked, um, which leads to, you know, well, first who they are. Memphis Police beating, Scorpion Unit, which stands for Street Crimes Operation to Restore Peace in Our Neighborhoods, which doesn't make any sense, but because how can it be a specialized unit, you know, with restoring peace in the neighborhoods? It's not like a baseball bat labeled peacekeeper, where it can be used to keep the peace and stop the fights and all this good stuff. Especially when it's a group of men with this one same attack mentality. It's a complete oxymoron. There's more than 2 dozen of them over in Memphis, and I'm really not even sure as to how in the world Memphis is that dangerous that it needs a specialized unit. But yeah, I'll have to look into the crime one day. Um, and now these dozen officers, just over a dozen officers, they wear black hoodies and tactical black vests with police emblazoned on it, so at least they can identify themselves as police. Um, on the fronts and the backs of the uniforms, and they drive dark colored Dodge Chargers marked with the Scorpion seal, which I think is a little too stealth for something like a cop, particularly something called a restoring of the peace unit. I think that's a complete oxymoron. It's like jumbo shrimp, mini truck. Um, it just doesn't make any sense. Um, but and especially it's alarming because again, it's a specialized unit that's designed for something, and it turns out it's just a bunch of guys that have, in this case, 5 amongst them that abuse the law and abuse their position and attack defenseless people. Um, but a lot of people are saying, well, we need these kinds of organizations. Well, if that's true, then technically you also need regulation. Nobody likes Big Brother. A lot of people would say, well, how is that necessary? Well, in this case, where you have a group of 5 guys breaking off to go do whatever the heck they want in the name of the law. It is necessary for regulation. Which brings me to the summary: reform the police. I know a lot of people get it confused for defund the police, which someone that's actually read the program knows full well that it's not anything to do about removal of benefits or cops or reduced pay or any kind of crap like that. It's the removal of all the junk that was used to invest into the police after 9/11. There was a lot of tactical gear, a lot of combative weaponry that they've been issued, and a lot of mobilized military RVs, and the tear gas and all this good stuff, which has been to this day completely unnecessary. It's just not needed. And especially in the hands of groups of police that are abusing the law. There's just never a problem that big. It turns out there is no Taliban that a cop has to actually worry about. So that was the original purpose for defund the police. Now it wound up being voted out and removed, so that's gone. What's left is reform the police, which is particularly what is needed is the rooting out of police officers like these 5 that wound up attacking a defenseless person, and sentence them to hard time, especially when there's verifiable proof of dishonoring the badge, no differently than a soldier that commits crime, he has to do hard time. There was a point in American society where it was a prisonable offense, So to see cops getting the support of Back the Blue and all this stuff, especially when they're committing crimes, it doesn't make any sense. It calls for huge reform of the police, especially when it comes to the injustices committed by the police. So definitely reform is very, very necessary into this. You got verifiable proof this time. Unlike Rodney King, where it's just a stroke of luck that somebody was videotaping it outside. You got this thing where the restoration of honoring the badge seriously needs to be put into place. And I know it sounds quite disturbing, coming from a guy who's saying common sense on common ground. That's what this show is all about. But you got to understand, I have relatives that I got one active police officer that's a cousin of mine, and I've got a couple of uncles who are no longer in the police. One's retired, another one deceased. But they didn't have this problem. They got that badge and they held true to it, the law, and honoring the badge, that upholds it, that enforces it. There was no abuse. There's no abuse committed by former cops of my relatives that were former cops, and the current one that is currently still, what we all call a flat foot, what is known as a flat foot. He maintains his peace as well as the reputation of being a carrier of that badge, that symbol of law enforcement. So when you got people like relatives of mine, be in the same crowd that's defending the 5 that killed an innocent person, it's just not good. It's not cool. It's not right, and it's definitely not right. It is just not right. We reform the police is the best solution to this. You got it starting with rooting out the policemen that carry out injustices on people. In this particular case is a prime example of that. A young man, 32 years of age, which makes him about 18 years younger than me. He went out on a nightly walk photographing stellar formations, stars, the night in the night sky. And on his way home is when he got, surrounded by the cops, roughed up a little, and so he tried running for his life. He escaped their grips and ran for his life, where he wound up getting hunted down just a few blocks over, about half a block outside of his own house. And that's where he wound up getting beaten to death. This group of five, with this mentality of going after somebody defenseless, and to top it all off, innocent of zero crimes. It's a huge oxymoron when they're labeled street crimes operation to restore peace in our neighborhoods, or Scorpion for short. It's a complete counter to what the title is, and again, it's just wrong. It's a total abuse of law. It's a group of men taking total opportunity to do so, and it's wrong. It needs to stop. Because they have enough. Cops don't do just killings. That's just a myth. That there's nobody more full of shit than a cop, because they sign up to use their guns. They sign up to shoot and kill. We all know the truth. We all know the truth that it's much bigger than something like that. Cops actually rescue people. Cops do medical emergencies. Cops, ward off attacking animals with animal repellent and stuff, Cops respond to fires no differently than firefighters. And if they can do something about it with the little extinguishers that they've got, they're an automatic firefighter. We know better than this, so please, all of you on ACAB, please don't think that I'm on your side. I'm not. Again, this is a show of common sense on common ground, and I stand by that, even if it looks like to back the blue that I'm not backing them up, or ACAB. Like, how dare you speak so well of them, and don't throw your family at me and all this other crap. It's nothing like that. It's just that, I look at these situations and I use common sense, and I try to find a common ground to it, and reform the police is that common ground. Again, particularly when there's verifiable proof of dishonoring the badge. When you got this much verifiable proof, they recorded themselves, for crying out loud. How much more proof do you really need? So this is something that I just had to let out and share with all of you. And of course, the common sense on common ground mentality that I have, it is definitely the reason why you show up to watch me on here, and I thank you for that. If any of you got any comments out there, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the show, and it's free. I'm not charging any of y'all. All you got to do is just hit the like button, so that way I can keep popping up with my common sense on common ground version, no matter what stories you're going to hear in the later future concerning whatever subject. So you're not alone, is what I'm telling you. You're not alone. There's guys just like me, just like you. I'm one of them, where we look at things with such common sense on common ground. We can't think, we don't have a voice or anything like that, and it just drives us up a wall every time we turn on the television, and you're hearing, no, leave the cop alone, and all cops are bastards. On another channel, and then, on the other channel, he was a good boy. Then you flip another channel and he got what he deserved. And it's like, what the heck is wrong with all of you? You guys are sitting like that. And that's what this video is about, is to tell you, you're not alone in thinking that. What is wrong with them? It's probably just a ratings thing that I'm not really sure to understand. I'm not really sure, but I think it's just a ratings thing, shock talk, TV. But yeah, you know, that's the spiel here. You're never going to get that kind of crap here on this show, and that's the reason why you're going to want to hit that like button. You're going to want to hit the subscribe, because it's on this show where common sense on common ground thinking is going to take place. So that's all I had to do. I just wanted to vent that out. I wanted to lead to the final summary, which is reform the police, especially on the injustices caused by the police. And I just, this beating, one out of quite a few, a different variation compared to the actual gangs who are in wearing law enforcement badges and all this good stuff. I'm sure I could go on, but I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna summarize this to this much. Reform the police and start by rooting out the cop gangs, and any cop that dishonors the badge. All right. This is Chris with Chris's Comments, signing out. Y'all take care, okay? Take it easy.